and welcome to today's episode of The Daily Blend. I am your host, AC, and we are joined in studio today by Ed Varnum. Ed is a local author of the new book, Metamorphosis. How are you, Ed?
I am very well and so happy to be here with you.
Oh my goodness, it's good to see you again.
Yes.
It's good to see you again. It's been a while. So from what I understand, Metamorphosis is book 2.
Yes.
And you sat here probably in this studio or somewhere around.
It was right here.
With Paul when book 1 came out.
Yes.
And that was in what, 2017?
Right in there, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And now here comes book 2. How many years later?
Oh, about 7.
Yeah. 7. Were you writing it the whole time?
Off and on. I started right away, kind of knowing what I wanted to do, and I'd change it, and I'd drop it, and I'd put it aside for a month or two and work on something else, and then come back to it. And finally, one day, I said to my wife, I got to write this book. And so I just did it from then on and finished it in a few months.
Okay, and we talked a little bit before. You said it's okay to read this one before you read the first one.
I think that would be the best deal.
Okay.
It's kind of it wasn't intended that way, but it's become kind of a prequel to explain how they had these strange friends and unusual relationships in this book. The characters are all reintroduced, and you can read it without having to read the first one.
Okay.
But you kind of wonder how did these guys get together? And it's all in the story of the first one.
Okay, so I can start here with book 2.
Yes.
And I won't be lost.
I wish you would.
Yeah, I will. I will start with book 2. I won't be lost. But then after I read this one, then I'll say, okay, let me go back to book 1 and figure out how they all got to where
book
they
1
are.
covers 3 generations of the same family.
Okay.
And it starts out with with sharecroppers in Alabama, white sharecroppers who leave and go to Illinois, and then the next generation, which is this one, comes to Arizona, where it ends up, and it ends up the summer before this one picks up that school year.
Okay.
63, 64.
63, 64.
Right.
Okay, and you said the setting Arizona?
Arizona.
Okay.
A fictional town called Casa Nueva. Yeah.
And you probably have a little bit of experience with Arizona, which is you can
good
write about
deal.
it.
Actually, there's going to be some people in Arizona read that and say, I know these places and these things, and he's given them fictional names, but I know who they really are.
So they'll recognize. They're recognizable.
Recognize them a lot. Yeah, it's outside the Phoenix. It's right by Phoenix.
Okay.
The town Casa Nueva.
Okay, and what's your inspiration for this? It's turning into a series now, Ed. This is book 2.
I think there will be a 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was your inspiration?
Mainly, when I retired, I didn't really want to retire.
Understood.
Because I'm a pastor, and you're busy, and you love it. I loved it. And my wife said, well, I'm retiring. So she retired, and I took another year and just said, what do I want to do? Well, I want to get back to my music. So I've done that. I want to travel some. And I think I'd like to write a book. Well, that's how it started.
Okay.
And then I thought, well, what do I know? Well, my family went from the south to the north to Arizona as well in 10 years. By the time I was age 10, it wasn't over 30 years. But so I kind of did that and then did the research of how the timing would go. And in my research, it became a historical fiction at that point.
Yeah.
And I kind of grew it as I wrote it. It was really fun to do.
I imagine so.
Yeah.
So there's some Ed in this book.
There is. In fact, I'll confess, there are a lot of characters in there. None of the characters are real people.
Okay.
I mean, they're not any one person. But there's some of them have some traits of different people. But the very opening scene, which is the assassination of Kennedy. Very opening scene was right out of my life. It's exactly what happened. That was me at that school when I heard, and the people told me, and I went to class. That one segment right there was exactly how it happened for me.
Wow.
After that, it's fiction, but that was real.
Yeah, so something that's kind of ingrained in your memory.
Oh, absolutely. Anyone who was there, and lived at that time, even when they're 14 years old.
Yeah, we've got those.
Yeah.
Those memories are in there.
Yeah.
They're in there. Okay, well, I'm looking forward to reading this, and as I'm looking at the cover of the book, I love the art on the cover, the butterfly, and I assume the family. So tell me about this cover art.
Well, first of all, the cover art, I got to put a plug for my son in Austin, Texas, who is an artist, Chris Varnum. He is he works other jobs to support his habit of art, but he also he's growing in his work there. He's been there for a while and got a real community of folks and doing well. And so I'm excited. He's very, very good, as you can see. He went to Kansas City Art Institute and graduated from there, and knows his stuff. But he loves to do the penciled drawings most of all. And so he did my first book, and I just gave him the idea.
That's what I was going to ask you.
Yeah.
What'd you say? Did you say this is exactly what I want?
I said this is what I want, because the first book is the first family that are sharecroppers.
Okay.
And so there's a scene out of that, and I told him, and he created it. This one is from a dream. I'll tell you a little bit about the main character, Marty, in a second. But Marty, when he's in high school, has this dream, and he doesn't understand it. It doesn't make any sense to him. And later on, when he's in college, it all comes together, and it closes pretty much with this image.
Okay.
And so that'll all be clear, at the end of the book.
It'll all be clear at the end of the book. You can't give it all away right here.
I can't give it all away.
You can't give it all away, but I'm excited to read it. And so can you tell me, if people are listening or watching now and they want to find this book, how do they find it?
Well, if they really want to wait, I don't know what kind of line there will be for it, maybe more after today. It's at the library.
Okay.
It's here in Columbia at the library, as is the first book. They're both here. And so that would be one way if they would like to purchase it. I actually self-published it on Amazon, both books, and so that's the best place to go.
Yes.
You can get it as an ebook for Kindle or any ebook reader, or you can get the paperback that you have there. But they're both on Amazon under Ed Varnum.
Yeah. Under Ed Varnum. So people need to go to Amazon. They can search, I'm sure, by the title of the book, or they can search by Ed Varnum, the author.
They can do that.
The local author.
The local author.
Or they can also go to the library
and
they can get on the waiting list, because there will be a waiting list after this comes out today.
Could be.
Yeah, I love it. I love the title of this, Metamorphosis, In Pursuit of Something Better.
Right.
That sounds definitely like something I want to read.
It's historical. Honestly, someone who's a boomer from my generation will have lived this, especially in Arizona, would probably, be the first choice. But for anyone, it's a historical view through the eyes of a teenager.
Thank you.